There's a madman at the Twin Towers in this. He walks a steel cable at a height of 12 meters with a balance bar in his hand, without any protective measures, to perform the most spectacular art show. Despite the cable shaking constantly, he still wants to challenge the limit, crouching down and sitting on the cable, then slowly lying down. Lip has been obsessed with acrobatics since he was a child. He sneaked into the circus and climbed to the top to try his hand on the wire. Rudy, the ringmaster, caught him in the act. When Rudy tried to kick him out, Philip turned around and performed a routine. This talent attracted Rudy's attention and Philip became his protégé. He spent the rest of his life in the circus learning to walk the tightrope, but he considered himself a rope-walking artist and didn't want to entertain the crowds as a circus clown. He had a serious disagreement with Rudy. Felipe packed his bags and left for a strange city to pursue his dream. Felipe arrived in Paris and started working as a street juggler. That day, Felipe saw the Twin Towers of the United States of America and felt called to them. The Twin Towers are 88 meters taller than the Eiffel Tower. This is the tallest building in the world where a show can be done. This was the beginning of Philip's dream. During this time, Felipe realized that it wasn't enough just to be able to walk the ropes. He had to learn to assemble the aerial locks. So Philip came back to the circus and asked Rudy to learn the skills of rigging a cable. Rudy told Philip that most people who walk the ropes die at the end of the line. They think they're done, but they're not. If you've got 3 more steps to go, and if you underestimate these 3 steps, then something will happen. Slow down early before you cross the finish line and always risk being overtaken. Rudy's words benefited Philip and he remembered them fondly. Soon Philip had his first official performance on a small lake in the park. Philip's debut ended in failure. Philip was not discouraged by this failure. Instead, he found himself a new venue. Felipe looked towards Notre Dame. It was here that he wanted to prove himself again by performing a tightrope walk. Late that night, he and Louis sneaked into the church and set up the cable between the 2 towers before dawn. When the first tourists arrived in the morning, Felipe began his act, and this time he succeeded. He was handcuffed by the police with a happy face. Philip's story was published in the newspaper, and on the back were the Twin Towers of America. And again, Philip felt called. He packed his bags, grabbed his buddies. He was excited to go to America. After settling into their hotel, Philip and Annie went to the Twin Towers for a field trip. He went to the top of the Twin Towers and stood on the steel frame and embraced the breeze with open arms. Looking down at the dark spots on the ground, he whispered to himself that he had made up his mind. Felipe began to prepare for his performance on the Twin Towers. With the help of Anne and Louise, he infiltrated the towers every day, dressed as a different professional, dodging patrols to get the equipment to the top floor, using bows and arrows as tows for the steel cables between the 2 towers. It was a bumpy ride, but they made it on time. Philip, with the first rays of the morning sun, he took the first step towards his dream with a balance beam in his hand. From the first moment of nervousness, he grew calm. Philip forgot he was wearing thermal underwear. He forgets that this is an illegal show. He salutes the cable. He salutes the 412 meters of the Twin Towers and the great city of New York. He went from one end to the other and back again. 8 round trips in all, sitting, kneeling, even lying on the cable with 1 foot in the air. At this moment, Felipe was unusually relaxed, feeling the cable breathing and listening to the clouds. He stayed on the cable for 45 minutes. He succeeded in conquering the 412 meters of height. The camera captured the whole feat. Everyone stopped for him. They looked up and admired the art called Felipe. After the show, Felipe was arrested. He violated more than 100 city ordinances, but the world applauded him. The Twin Towers had his name on them. He was also given a permanent pass to the Twin Towers.